Ladies and gentlemen, Call of Duty is back. If you have not heard the recent news, Call of Duty just recently implemented an open playlist within the Black Ops 7 beta, and basically this playlist just gives us matchmaking that is the traditional Call of Duty matchmaking from prior to Modern Warfare 2019, which means that your skill is minimally included in the matchmaking. It is based off of connection, who's closest to you, giving you the best player experience overall, and it's just a thrown together lobby of varying skill levels. Now, I have so much to say on this topic, I don't even know where to begin. But before I get into all of that, I would like to ask anybody who is watching this video that is currently not subscribed to the channel to please do so. I really want to get back into doing this as much as I possibly can, and that all starts with views and subscriber counts going up. So if you could do that, I really appreciate it. Feel free to like and comment as well. The experience that I have had in this open playlist has been fantastic. And to be completely honest, I think that Activision, Treyarch, however this decision was made, they might have messed up to an extent, because Call of Duty has not felt this good in years, and now that players have gotten a taste of what good matchmaking feels like, what traditional Call of Duty matchmaking feels like, if they pull a 180 and they take this out at launch and we do not have this in there, then it's going to be disastrous. People are going to be very upset, and they're going to be worse off than if they would have just never have put this playlist out there. And I think that they're aware of that. I think they know that that's the case. I think they have enough forethought to know that if they did that, it would be just absolutely disastrous, and players would revolt in the worst ways. But I do have some critiques that I want to point out about this playlist in specific. I'm sure that if you are on Twitter or have watched other videos, you've heard these complaints already, but it is very important that we don't just leave this matchmaking to one playlist. I think it's nice that they put that playlist at the top of the filter, so that way when players, click into play, it's the first thing that's right there. I think that does help a lot. But if they come at launch with just a playlist, it's not gonna work, because the players who are the tippity top best, or we'll say top 15% of players, are going to flock to this playlist, and it's just going to still feel like skill-based matchmaking for the most part. It's only working right now in the beta because there's really two playlists to play, and one of them, which is this, is at the very top. So most casual players are just hitting that and going right into it. Now, Activision's whole debate here is going, because I've seen this myself, already in the games that I've played, I've already experienced this. Activision's entire debate is going to be, welp, we did the testing, we did the experiment. It looks like good players stay in lobbies, bad players who are getting shit on leave the lobbies, and that's it. Which means players aren't having fun. And that's not true. Let me clarify. That is not true. My friend, he is not the best player in the world. I wouldn't say he's even average. He's below average. He enjoys playing this game with me, despite him getting shit on, etc. If you are a bad player and you are queuing into the open playlist and you are backing out of games, you are immediately queuing back up to get into another game, because you know that you can do better in another match. If you're playing in a skill-based matchmaking playlist, the traditional Call of Duty playlist that we've been dealing with for the last 5-6 years, it doesn't matter. There's no point in leaving, right? You might have a more steady, consistent, like, I finished with another 1 KD and the same score per minute, and the game decided I was going to win or lose this match. You might finish with that every single time, so you don't feel the need to back out, because every single match feels almost the exact same. I didn't realize just how terrible Call of Duty has been. I'll just say it. I'll say it. I haven't realized how bad Call of Duty has been for the last several years. I have had friends who are very casual players completely stop playing Call of Duty entirely. They didn't specifically say because of matchmaking, but because they said that it wasn't fun anymore. And I love Call of Duty more than anybody that I know, and so for me it didn't really make sense. To me it was, they're growing out of it, they're finding other things that they like to do, or they're not good at the game so they don't want to struggle. Like, I get that. But they were right. They were right, and I was too blinded by the fact that I enjoy the game so much, especially what it was, that I refuse to accept how it has been, to walk away. And this playlist has shown me that. This playlist has shown me that the way Call of Duty used to be, that all of my friends who have left playing Call of Duty because it isn't fun anymore, were right. Activision Whoever made this decision, you guys have not only punished the hardcore players, you've also punished your casual audience, the ones who have been playing for a long time but were never good at the game, but still played it because it was casual, it was easy, it was something to just hop in and do. You punished them as well. The only players that you were bringing back in were new players who were young, you know, teens, just like how old I was when I started playing, and players who would occasionally dip back and forth, and then also the players like myself that play all of the time, every year, regardless, because you love the franchise. You have completely alienated your super casual audience with skill-based matchmaking. And then you're also now at the point where you're pushing away the super dedicated players. And I'm going to tell you, not like you guys are going to see this video, but I'm going to tell you that because you created this playlist, you are going to push away so many more players if this is not the way that this is implemented at the launch of the game. You have competition this year, and I know that you do. Let's not kid ourselves here. You guys are not putting this playlist in the game because you love your player base, because you're listening to us, because you care. Because time and time and time again, a studio will say that they're listening to us. They'll do a bunch of changes around the beta, or maybe like the first couple weeks that the game comes out. By the time December rolls around, it's radio silence till like the end of January, sometimes February. There's nothing of any significant change, hardly any updates. It feels like you're talking to a brick wall, especially on the Activision side of things. So this looks good right now. This looks good that we have this playlist. It looks good that Treyarch is going and changing all of these things. And Treyarch is my favorite development studio. They have been since Black Ops 1. But, huge but here. If this does not continue into the full game, not just the skill-based matchmaking playlist where that's, you know, removed and we're back to classic matchmaking, but if you don't continue to listen to the players on fixes, updates, patches, whatever, you're going to lose people. You will find me playing Battlefield 6. I'm not saying I'm still going to get this game. Again, I do love Call of Duty. I'll still get this game. I want to play the campaign. I want to experience zombies. I do want to grind camos. But I honestly might not do multiplayer camos this year. If this is what the multiplayer is going to feel like, without, you know, with skill-based matchmaking there, and without this playlist, now that I've played it, I don't know that I can go back. It's been the most fun that I've had in years playing a Call of Duty title, and I know that I'm not alone when it comes to that. And I know that bad players are also not hating the game because of this playlist. It doesn't make sense for them to have it there. I don't care what their data says. I don't care what they felt like was happening in 2013 or 14 or whatever when they started realizing that they needed to put something like this in the game. You have to understand that when a lot of that data was being created at that time, you had just some bad Call of Duty games that were out at the time. People are going to listen to this video and you're not going to agree with me. But I remember how it was when those games were out. I'm not talking about now. I'm not talking about nostalgia. I'm talking about how players felt about those games in the moment. You have Advanced Warfare. You have Call of Duty Ghosts. Infinite Warfare. Those games, specifically those three games, were so polarizing to the community. They were already... Call of Duty Ghosts was frustrating because it did feel so different from prior Call of Duties in a lot of ways. The time to kill was so different. The maps were so different. The visuals were so different. It was hard to play that game. It was a harder Call of Duty. Because of that, you had a lot of players that didn't enjoy it, myself included. There were a lot of reasons I didn't like that game, but Ghost was a bad multiplayer experience. So you had that combined with your traditional matchmaking, which led to players just not being that interested in the game overall. And I think Activision took a lot of that and said, you know what? That means that good players are just demolishing them and they're not having fun in games because, you know, the good players are making it hard. I bet you there is such a small amount of people who were actually of that mindset. I bet you there was such a small amount of people that were like, man, I'm so bad at Call of Duty that every time I get on and I get shit on, I just get off for the night. That happens now. That happens now. That did not happen as much then. That happens now. And then, not to mention, you have Advanced Warfare and you have Infinite Warfare. Two games that were super polarizing for multiple reasons. A lot of people just didn't like the gameplay. In combination with the advanced movement, creates such a wide skill gap that of course you're going to see a fall off of players that really aren't that good at that type of movement. You can't appease everybody. But what you can do is try to make the experience as enjoyable as possible for most people. And I truly believe that traditional matchmaking is the way to go. You are going to get players that play less often overall, more than likely, because they're not as good and they're not just consistently sitting at a 1 KD. That is true. But then a portion of those players are also going to get better. They're going to lobby shop when they're having bad games because they know they can queue up and instantly find another game where their odds of doing better are higher. That's the way Call of Duty was. That's the way that it should be, in my personal opinion. I'd like to know your guys' opinion down below. I got a little bit ranty here, a little bit rambly, but this is insane that we have actually seen Activision finally do something about their matchmaking system. But if it doesn't stick, it really could be the nail in the coffin for Call of Duty, at least to some extent.